Welcome, dear friend. I've been quietly awaiting your arrival. Here, within the ancient stillness of Sleepy University, you may find true solace. I am Chancellor Eldrin, here to gently guide your way. Now, I activate my balm of stars, a soft light to comfort your rest and ease your learning. Come, let us softly explore the vast wisdom that waits, where quiet calm brings clear understanding. Sleep. It's something we all do, something often taken for granted, but it is, fundamentally, a cornerstone of our cognitive function, and perhaps even more significantly, the very engine of creativity. We live in a culture that often glorifies busyness, the hustle, and the relentless pursuit of productivity. This frequently comes at the expense of adequate sleep, a trade-off we make believing we're getting more done. However, the truth is quite the opposite. Chronic sleep deprivation doesn't simply make us tired. It impairs our ability to think critically, solve problems, and, crucially, generate novel ideas. Think of your brain as a complex garden. While you're awake, you're actively tending to it, weeding, planting, and pruning. But it's during sleep that the real magic happens. The soil is replenished, seeds are sown, and new growth is nurtured. Without this crucial period of rest and restoration, the garden your mind becomes barren and unproductive. The connection isn't merely anecdotal, it's deeply rooted in neuroscience. During sleep, your brain doesn't shut down. It actively processes information, consolidates memories, and makes connections between seemingly disparate ideas. This process, known as synaptic pruning and potentiation, is essential for learning and creativity. Consider the concept of incubation. This refers to the process of unconsciously working on a problem, allowing the solution to emerge seemingly from nowhere. We've all experienced it, wrestling with a challenging problem all day, then waking up with the answer fully formed. This isn't a coincidence. It's the result of your brain continuing to process information while you sleep. During sleep, the brain's default mode network, responsible for internal thought and daydreaming, becomes more active. This allows for more associative thinking, the ability to connect seemingly unrelated ideas, which is a crucial component of creativity. It's like letting your mind wander freely, unconstrained by the limitations of conscious thought. When you're actively trying to solve a problem, your brain tends to focus on known solutions. During sleep, however, the brain is more open to exploring novel possibilities, leading to breakthrough insights. This is why keeping a notepad by your bed is often recommended, to capture those fleeting ideas that emerge from the depths of your subconscious. The impact of sleep extends beyond problem solving. It's also essential for emotional regulation, which is inextricably linked to creativity. When we're sleep deprived, our amygdala, the brain's emotional center, becomes hyperactive, leading to increased stress, anxiety, and irritability. This can stifle creativity by inhibiting risk-taking and reducing our willingness to explore new ideas. Adequate sleep, on the other hand, helps to calm the amygdala and strengthen the connection between the prefrontal cortex, the brain's rational and creative center. This allows us to approach challenges with a more balanced and imaginative perspective. Think of emotions as the fuel for creativity. Positive emotions, like joy and gratitude, can broaden our perspective and enhance our ability to think flexibly. Negative emotions, while potentially disruptive, can also serve as a catalyst for innovation, prompting us to find creative solutions to overcome adversity. However, It's crucial to manage these emotions effectively, and sleep plays a vital role in that process. Without sufficient rest, our emotional responses become dysregulated, hindering our ability to harness the power of both positive and negative emotions for creative expression. Welcome to How Sleep Inspires Breakthroughs. In this course, we'll delve into the fascinating relationship between sleep and creativity. We'll move beyond the simple acknowledgement that sleep is good for you and explore the intricate neurological processes that unlock our creative potential during rest. This isn't a course about sleep hygiene, although we will touch upon those principles. Instead, our focus is on how sleep actively cultivates creativity and how you can harness that power in your own life. Over the next 14 chapters, we'll unravel the mysteries of the sleeping brain, examining the different stages of sleep and their unique contributions to creative thinking. We'll investigate the role of dreams, the power of incubation, and the impact of sleep deprivation on cognitive function. We'll also explore historical examples of creative breakthroughs that occurred during sleep and examine the latest research in the field of oneirology, the study of dreams. Here's a quick look at what we'll be exploring together. In chapters 1 and 2, we'll talk about the basics, why sleep is so important, and the different stages it goes through, like REM and non-REM. You'll see how each stage plays a special role in sparking your creativity, especially in different ways of thinking, like divergent and convergent. Chapters 3 to 5 will take us deeper into the fascinating world of dreams, how they're wired in our brains, what they mean psychologically, and how they can inspire new ideas. We'll look at common dream themes, try out techniques like lucid dreaming, and see how dream analysis can help solve creative problems. Then, in chapters 6 to 8, we'll focus on practical tips you can use to make the most of sleep. From improving your sleep quality and finding the best routine, to adding mindfulness and even using things like music or aromatherapy, all aimed at helping your creativity flourish during those restful hours. Finally, chapters 9 through 14 will explore the historical and cultural connections between sleep and creativity. We'll examine examples of creative breakthroughs that occurred during sleep, from the famous discoveries of Keckle and Elias Howe to the artistic visions of Coleridge and Mary Shelley. We'll also discuss the role of sleep in different cultures and the evolving understanding of dreams throughout history. Throughout this course, we'll emphasize practical application. We'll provide you with tools and techniques you can use to optimize your sleep, unlock your creative potential, and cultivate a more innovative mindset. This isn't just about learning information. It's about transforming your relationship with sleep and harnessing its power to live a more creative and fulfilling life. My aim is that by the end of these 14 chapters, you'll have a complete toolbox to not only understand the science, but to apply it to your life for measurable breakthroughs. Let's dive into the fascinating world of sleep stages. Sleep isn't a monolithic state. It's a dynamic process characterized by distinct stages, each with its own unique neurological signature and contribution to cognitive function. We primarily categorize sleep into two broad types: REM sleep and non-REM sleep. Non-REM sleep is further divided into 3 stages: N1, N2, and N3. N1 is the lightest stage of sleep, a transitional phase between wakefulness and sleep. Brain activity slows down and muscles begin to relax. It's relatively short-lived, typically lasting only a few minutes. N2 is a deeper stage of sleep, characterized by slower brain waves and occasional bursts of activity called sleep spindles and K complexes. These bursts are thought to play a role in memory consolidation and learning. N3, also known as slow wave sleep or deep sleep, is the deepest and most restorative stage of sleep. Brain waves are slow and synchronized, and muscles are completely relaxed. This stage is crucial for physical recovery, immune function, and memory consolidation. Now, let's talk about REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. This stage is characterized by rapid eye movements, increased brain activity, and muscle paralysis. Brain waves during REM sleep are similar to those experienced during wakefulness, which explains why dreams are so vivid and realistic during this stage. REM sleep is widely believed to be crucial for creativity, problem solving, and emotional regulation. It's during REM sleep that the brain consolidates memories, makes new connections, and explores possibilities. Interestingly, the amount of REM sleep we experience varies throughout the night. We typically have longer REM sleep periods later in the night as the sleep cycle progresses. So, if you're trying to harness the creative power of sleep, it might be beneficial to allow yourself to sleep through a full sleep cycle or two. So, how do these different sleep stages contribute to creativity? Well, deep sleep, or N3, appears to be essential for consolidating procedural memories, the memories that govern skills and habits. This suggests that deep sleep might be crucial for refining existing creative skills. N2 sleep, with its sleep spindles and K complexes, seems to play a role in associative learning, the ability to make connections between different concepts. This suggests that N2 sleep might be important for generating new ideas and insights, but the real creative powerhouse appears to be REM sleep. During REM sleep, the brain disinhibits certain pathways and allows for more flexible and divergent thinking. This allows us to explore possibilities that we might not consider during wakefulness. REM sleep also seems to be important for emotional processing, which can fuel creative expression. The interplay between these different sleep stages is complex and fascinating. It's not just about getting enough sleep, it's about optimizing your sleep architecture, the pattern of sleep stages throughout the night, to maximize your creative potential. Sleep, as we experience it, isn't a uniform state of shutdown. It's a remarkably active process, orchestrated by complex changes in brain activity. When we drift off to sleep, the brain doesn't simply turn off. Instead, it transitions through distinct stages, each characterized by unique patterns of electrical activity, measured using a technique called electroencephalography, or EEG. These brainwaves change in frequency and amplitude as we progress through the stages. Initially, as we fall asleep, brain activity slows down, and we enter stage 1, a brief transitional period between wakefulness and sleep. During this stage, we experience hypnic jerks, those sudden muscle twitches, and may have fleeting, dreamlike images. Think of it as the brain gently disengaging from the external world, like a ship slowly leaving the harbour. Then, we move into stage 2, marked by sleep spindles and K complexes, bursts of activity that seem to play a role in memory consolidation and protecting us from being easily awakened. This stage represents a deeper level of relaxation and reduced awareness. Stages 3 and 4, often referred to as slow wave sleep or deep sleep, are characterized by delta waves, slow, high-amplitude brain waves. These stages are crucial for physical restoration, immune function, and energy conservation. It's during deep sleep that the body repairs tissues, builds bone and muscle, and strengthens the immune system. Imagine the brain as a meticulous craftsman, carefully repairing and rebuilding the body's infrastructure. Awakening someone from deep sleep can leave them feeling groggy and disoriented, a phenomenon known as sleep inertia, as the brain struggles to re-engage with the external world. The proportion of time spent in each sleep stage varies throughout the night. We generally spend more time in deep sleep during the first half of the night, gradually shifting towards more time in REM sleep, the stage most associated with dreaming, as the night progresses. Understanding these stages is fundamental to understanding how sleep supports cognitive function. The brain doesn't simply rest during sleep, it actively processes information, consolidates memories, and prepares us for the next day. Each stage plays a distinct role in this complex process. For example, slow-wave sleep is particularly important for declarative memory, the type of memory that stores facts and events, while REM sleep is crucial for procedural memory, the type of memory that stores skills and habits. Think of the brain as a meticulous librarian, carefully organizing and cataloging the day's experiences. Disruptions to these sleep stages, whether caused by sleep deprivation, stress, or sleep disorders, can have significant consequences for cognitive performance, emotional regulation, and overall health. Therefore, prioritizing adequate and restful sleep is not just a matter of feeling good, it's essential for optimal brain function. REM sleep, or rapid eye movement sleep, is arguably the most fascinating and enigmatic stage of sleep. As the name suggests, it's characterized by rapid, random movements of the eyes, even though the eyelids are closed. This stage is also associated with muscle atonia, a temporary paralysis of the muscles, which prevents us from acting out our dreams. During REM sleep, brain activity becomes remarkably similar to wakefulness, with increased levels of activity in areas associated with emotion, motivation, and visual processing. It's as if the brain is replaying experiences and creating new connections. While the exact function of REM sleep remains a subject of ongoing research, it's widely believed to be crucial for learning, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. Consider it the brain's dedicated creative workshop. The dreaming experience is most vivid and frequent during REM sleep. While we can certainly dream during other sleep stages, REM dreams tend to be more elaborate, emotional, and bizarre. The content of our dreams often reflects our waking life experiences, but they can also be filled with strange imagery, symbolic representations, and illogical scenarios. Some theories suggest that dreams serve as a virtual reality for practicing social interactions, resolving emotional conflicts, and exploring different possibilities. It's a safe space for the mind to experiment and learn. The brain areas active during REM sleep, such as the amygdala and hippocampus, are heavily involved in processing emotions and forming memories, which likely explains why dreams are often so emotionally charged and memorable. The proportion of REM sleep we get each night increases as the night progresses. Early in the night, we spend more time in deep sleep, while later in the night, REM sleep becomes more dominant. This pattern reflects the brain's need to prioritize physical restoration early in the night and cognitive processing later in the night. Depriving someone of REM sleep can lead to a range of cognitive and emotional impairments, including difficulty concentrating, impaired memory, increased irritability, and even hallucinations. This highlights the crucial role of REM sleep in maintaining optimal brain function. Therefore, ensuring that you get enough uninterrupted sleep is essential for allowing your brain to cycle through all the necessary sleep stages, including REM sleep. and reap the full benefits of a restful night's sleep. Dreaming isn't just a passive experience, it's an active process driven by complex neurochemical interactions. Neurotransmitters, chemical messengers that transmit signals between nerve cells, play a critical role in regulating sleep stages and influencing the content of our dreams. Several neurotransmitters are particularly important in the context of dreaming. Acetylcholine, for example, is heavily involved in REM sleep. Increased levels of acetylcholine promote REM sleep and are thought to contribute to the vividness and intensity of dreams. Think of acetylcholine as the ignition switch for REM sleep, activating the brain regions involved in dreaming. Serotonin and norepinephrine, on the other hand, are typically suppressed during REM sleep. These neurotransmitters are involved in wakefulness and alertness, so their suppression allows the brain to disengage from the external world and enter the dream state. This suppression also explains why some antidepressant medications that increase serotonin levels can sometimes interfere with REM sleep and reduce dream recall. Dopamine, a neurotransmitter associated with reward and motivation, also plays a role in dreaming. Dreams often involve emotionally charged scenarios, and dopamine may contribute to the emotional intensity of these experiences. Consider dopamine as the emotional amplifier during dreaming, making the experience more vivid and memorable. The interplay between these neurotransmitters isn't simple. It's a complex and dynamic process that varies throughout the night and is influenced by a variety of factors, including genetics, stress, and medications. Researchers are still working to fully understand the neurochemical basis of dreaming. However, it's clear that neurotransmitters are essential for regulating sleep stages and shaping the content of our dreams. Some studies suggest that manipulating neurotransmitter levels could potentially be used to influence dreams, perhaps even to treat nightmares or enhance creativity. This remains an area of ongoing research. Ultimately, understanding the neurochemical basis of dreaming offers valuable insights into the complex workings of the brain and the fascinating world of sleep. Good evening. Tonight, we begin to explore the art of remembering our dreams. It's a skill, truly, and like any skill, it improves with practice. Many people believe they don't dream, but that's rarely the case. Instead, they simply don't remember. Our brains are remarkably efficient at filtering information, and dreams, often being ephemeral and seemingly unimportant at the time, are easily discarded. The first step, then, is to signal to your brain that these experiences are important. Before you go to sleep, make a conscious intention to remember your dreams. Say it to yourself. Write it in a journal. Anything to imprint it on your subconscious mind. This simple act can dramatically increase your recall. It's about creating a welcoming space for these nocturnal narratives to surface into your waking consciousness. Keeping a dream journal is perhaps the most effective technique for improving recall. Place a notebook and pen right next to your bed, within easy reach. The moment you wake up, and this is crucial, before you even fully open your eyes, resist the urge to move or think too much. Your dream memory is incredibly fragile and can vanish within seconds. Reach for your journal and immediately jot down anything you remember. Fragments, feelings, images, even just a single word. Don't worry about grammar or coherence. Just get it down. You can fill in the details later, but that initial capture is vital. Even if you remember nothing at all, write "No dream recalled." This reinforces the habit and signals your intention. The very act of writing helps solidify the memory trace. There are also techniques you can use before sleep to prepare your mind. Mindfulness and meditation can be incredibly helpful. By calming your mind and reducing stress, you create a more receptive state for dream recall. Visualization exercises can also be effective. Imagine yourself vividly recalling a dream, experiencing the emotions and sensations as if it were happening now. Even simply reviewing your day, recalling the events, the people you met, the emotions you felt, can help prime your memory for the night. Remember, consistency is key. Make these practices a regular part of your bedtime routine, and you'll be amazed at how much more you remember. It's a gentle process. Be patient with yourself. Now, let's move on to the fascinating world of dream interpretation. It's important to understand that there's no single definitive right answer to what any dream means. Dreams are deeply personal and symbolic, and their meaning will vary depending on your individual experiences, emotions, and beliefs. However, there are some general principles we can apply. The first is to recognize that dreams rarely present themselves literally. They speak in metaphors, symbols, and allegories. A dream about being chased, for example, doesn't necessarily mean you're in physical danger. It could represent feelings of anxiety, fear, or unresolved conflict. When interpreting a dream, start by identifying the dominant emotions. What feelings were you experiencing during the dream? Were you scared, happy, sad, angry, confused? These emotions are often the key to understanding the dream's core message. Next, consider the symbols that appeared in the dream. What do those symbols mean to you personally? A symbol that has one meaning for one person might have a completely different meaning for another. For example, a house might represent the self, the family, or a sense of security. A river might represent the flow of life, emotions, or change. It's crucial to avoid relying on generic dream dictionaries. Those can be helpful starting points, but they should never be taken as definitive answers. The most important interpreter of your dreams is you. Consider the context of your life when interpreting your dreams. What's happening in your waking life that might be influencing your dreams? Are you facing any challenges, conflicts, or major changes? Dreams often reflect our deepest fears, desires, and unresolved issues. They can serve as a way for our subconscious mind to process emotions and work through problems. Don't be afraid to explore the deeper meaning of your dreams, even if it's uncomfortable. Sometimes, the most challenging dreams can offer the most valuable insights. Remember, dream interpretation is a process of self-discovery. It requires patience, intuition, and a willingness to explore the hidden depths of your own psyche. Let's delve a little deeper into the world of dream symbolism. While personal meaning is paramount, certain symbols tend to recur across cultures and throughout history. These archetypal symbols often represent universal themes and experiences. Water, for example, frequently symbolizes emotions, the subconscious, and the flow of life. Clear water might represent clarity and peace, while murky water could indicate confusion or emotional turmoil. Fire often symbolizes passion, transformation, and destruction. It can represent both creative energy and destructive impulses. Earth symbolizes grounding, stability, and material reality. Animals often represent instinctual drives and personality traits. A snake might symbolize transformation, healing, or hidden danger. A bird might represent freedom, spirituality, or communication. Houses, as we touched upon, frequently symbolize the self, the family, or a sense of security. Different rooms within a house can represent different aspects of the personality. The attic might represent forgotten memories, while the basement could symbolize repressed emotions. Cars and other vehicles often represent our ability to move forward in life and achieve our goals. The condition of the vehicle can reflect our confidence and control over our journey. Pay attention to the details, colors, textures, sounds within your dreams. These details can provide valuable clues about the dream's meaning. Ultimately, the most important thing to remember is that dream symbolism is subjective. What a particular symbol means to you will depend on your own personal experiences, beliefs, and emotions. Don't be afraid to trust your intuition and explore the deeper meaning of your dreams. Keep a dream journal, record your thoughts and feelings, and allow yourself to be open to the insights that your dreams can offer. Dreams are a powerful tool for self-discovery and personal growth. By learning to understand the language of dreams, you can unlock a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world. And remember, this is just the beginning of your journey. There is always more to learn and explore. We often talk about sleeping on it when faced with a difficult problem, and it's far more than just a charming idiom. There's a robust neurological basis for why sleep allows us to gain insight. During wakefulness, our thinking tends to be focused and deliberate, utilizing primarily the prefrontal cortex, the seat of logical reasoning. This executive function is brilliant for analyzing information, but it can also create a sort of tunnel vision, limiting our ability to see alternative solutions. Sleep, particularly REM sleep, fundamentally alters this process. It's during REM, rapid eye movement, that our brains engage in a form of associative thinking. The prefrontal cortex's control is relaxed, allowing the brain to make connections between seemingly unrelated concepts. This isn't random. It's a process of overnight consolidation, where memories are replayed, reorganized, and integrated with existing knowledge. This reorganization isn't about remembering facts. It's about forging new associations, unlocking latent possibilities that were previously hidden by the constraints of conscious thought. Think of it like shaking a kaleidoscope. The pieces are all there, but it takes a disruption to rearrange them into a new and illuminating pattern. A key concept here is associative network. Our brains aren't like computers storing data in neat, organized files. They're more like intricate webs, where information is interconnected through countless associations. When we're awake, we tend to activate specific pathways within this network, focusing on relevant information. During sleep, however, these pathways become more diffuse, allowing for broader connections to be made. This is facilitated by something called synaptic downscaling, a process where the strength of some connections is temporarily reduced. This may seem counterintuitive, why weaken connections, but it's crucial for preventing overfitting, where our brains become too rigid in their thinking. Downscaling allows us to see things from a fresh perspective, to break free from established patterns, and to consider alternative solutions that we might have otherwise overlooked. It's like clearing away the clutter to reveal the underlying structure. The remote associates test is often used to illustrate this process. In this test, you're given 3 seemingly unrelated words, for example, cottage, Swiss, and cake, and asked to find a 4th word that connects them. Often, the answer is elusive when you think about it directly, but if you sleep on it, your brain can make the connection, in this case cheeses, by accessing and integrating information from different parts of your associative network. This isn't about memorization, it's about creative problem solving, about seeing connections that weren't immediately apparent. Sleep, therefore, isn't just a passive state of rest, it's an active process of cognitive reorganization, a crucial ingredient in the recipe for insight. It's about allowing the subconscious mind to do its work, to explore possibilities that the conscious mind might dismiss. The concept of incubation is central to understanding how sleep fosters creativity. Incubation refers to the period of unconscious processing that occurs after you've engaged with a problem, but before you attempt to solve it. It's about stepping away from the problem, allowing it to simmer in the background of your mind. This isn't a passive process, it's an active form of unconscious problem solving. When you're consciously focused on a problem, your brain is limited by your existing knowledge and biases. But when you're asleep, or otherwise engaged in a different activity, your brain is free to explore alternative solutions, to make unexpected connections, and to consider perspectives you might have overlooked. This is particularly true during REM sleep, where the brain is most active and creative. Think of it like this. Consciously working on a problem is like digging a narrow tunnel, focusing intently on a specific direction. Incubation, however, is like widening the tunnel, allowing your mind to explore different paths and possibilities. It's about creating a mental space where new ideas can emerge. This is why artists, writers, and scientists often report having their best ideas while dreaming, or immediately after waking up. Their brains have been actively processing the problem during sleep, making connections that weren't apparent during wakefulness. The power of incubation lies in its ability to bypass conscious constraints, allowing your mind to think outside the box. Interestingly, the effectiveness of incubation isn't necessarily about the amount of time you spend away from the problem. Sometimes, a short break of just a few minutes can be enough to trigger a new insight. However, longer periods of incubation, such as overnight sleep, tend to be more effective as they allow the brain to engage in more extensive cognitive reorganization. The key is to allow your mind to wander, to disengage from conscious thought, and to create a space for new ideas to emerge. It's about trusting your subconscious mind to do its work and to provide you with the solutions you're seeking. So, next time you're faced with a challenging problem, don't be afraid to step away from it, to sleep on it, and to let your subconscious mind take the lead. There's a growing body of evidence demonstrating that sleep can be intentionally harnessed for problem solving. This isn't just about passively waiting for insights to occur. It's about actively preparing your mind before sleep and then allowing your subconscious to work on the problem overnight. One technique is pre-sleep processing. This involves thinking about the problem in detail before going to bed, but not attempting to solve it. The goal is to prime your subconscious mind, to provide it with the necessary information, and then to allow it to work on the problem without conscious interference. Think of it like setting a search query for your brain, and then letting it run in the background while you sleep. Another technique is targeted memory reactivation, or TMR. This involves exposing yourself to cues associated with the problem while you're asleep. For example, if you're trying to learn a new language, you might play audio recordings of the language while you sleep. The idea is that these cues will reactivate memories related to the problem, facilitating overnight consolidation and potentially leading to new insights. It's important to note that TMR is a relatively new field of research, and the effectiveness of different cues is still being investigated. However, initial findings suggest that it can be a promising tool for enhancing sleep-based problem solving. It's crucial to set up these cues before you go to sleep, avoiding any stimulating sounds during sleep that might disrupt REM cycles. Ultimately, sleep-based problem-solving isn't about finding a quick fix. It's about harnessing the power of your subconscious mind and creating the conditions for creative insights to emerge. By intentionally preparing your mind before sleep and allowing it to work on the problem overnight, you can significantly increase your chances of finding innovative solutions. Remember that sleep isn't just a time for rest. It's a powerful tool for cognitive enhancement and a crucial ingredient in the recipe for success. Consider your sleep a dedicated processing time for your brain and give it the right input for optimal results. The connection between dreams and visual art is arguably the most immediately apparent of all creative disciplines. For centuries, artists have turned to their nocturnal experiences for inspiration, seeking to capture the illogical, the symbolic, and the emotionally resonant imagery that emerges from the subconscious. It's not simply about reproducing a dream, but about distilling its essence. Think of Salvador Dali, whose surrealist landscapes are profoundly dreamlike, not in terms of literal depictions of dream content, but in their defiance of logic and embrace of the bizarre. The persistence of memory isn't a dream he had. It's a visual representation of the feeling of a dream, the fluidity of time, the distortion of reality, the sense of something deeply personal yet universally understood. Artists often report that dreams bypass the usual critical filters of the waking mind, allowing for unexpected juxtapositions and novel forms to emerge. This is crucial. The waking mind tends to categorize and label, whereas the dreaming mind sees only pure, unadulterated impression. Many artists will actually keep a dream journal, sketching or writing down fragments of imagery immediately upon waking, before the details fade. This isn't simply about remembering, it's about preserving the emotional weight of the dream, the feeling tone that informs the artistic process. Beyond direct representation, dreams can also influence the style of an artist. Think of the pre-Raphaelites, whose paintings often evoke a sense of medieval romance and ethereal beauty. While not necessarily based on specific dreams, their aesthetic, the flowing lines, the rich colors, the emphasis on symbolism, feels profoundly dreamlike. This is because they were actively cultivating a state of heightened imagination, a willingness to embrace the irrational and the fantastical. Similarly, abstract expressionists like Jackson Pollock, though seemingly far removed from representational art, were tapping into the same subconscious processes. His drip paintings, with their chaotic energy and seemingly random patterns, can be seen as a visual manifestation of the free associative thinking that characterizes the dream state. The act of painting itself became a form of dream work, a way to externalize the inner landscape of the mind. The key takeaway isn't just what they painted, but how they painted, the process, the spontaneity, the willingness to let go of control and allow the subconscious to guide the hand. The concept of automatic drawing, or automatic painting, explored by surrealists like And Masson, is directly rooted in the principles of dream work. The idea is to bypass conscious control and allow the hand to move freely, guided by the subconscious. The resulting images are often fragmented, ambiguous, and deeply personal. This isn't about skill or technique. It's about accessing a different mode of creativity, a mode that is more intuitive and less rational. It's remarkably similar to the way dreams unfold, illogical, disjointed, yet emotionally resonant. Moreover, the use of symbolism in art is deeply intertwined with the language of dreams. Dreams rarely communicate directly. Instead, they rely on metaphors, symbols, and archetypes to convey meaning. Artists, consciously or unconsciously, tap into this symbolic language, using imagery to evoke emotions, explore themes, and communicate complex ideas. The interpretation of these symbols, of course, is subjective, but the fact remains that the visual language of art and the symbolic language of dreams share a common ground. Music, perhaps even more so than visual art, lends itself to the ephemeral and elusive nature of dreams. The very structure of a musical composition, its melodic lines, harmonic progressions, rhythmic patterns, can evoke the feeling of a dream, a sense of flow, of suspension, of emotional resonance. Many composers have reported that entire musical pieces have come to them in dreams, fully formed. Robert Schumann, for example, claimed that his famous Kinderscenen scenes from childhood were inspired by dreams and reveries. While we can't verify the literal truth of this claim, it highlights the fact that the subconscious mind often operates in a musical mode, associating sounds with emotions, creating patterns, and building narratives. The fluidity of time in dreams, the sense of illogical transitions, can be mirrored in music through techniques like atonality, polytonality, or abrupt changes in tempo and key. The concept of leitmotif, frequently employed in opera and film scores, is deeply rooted in the dreamlike association of sounds with emotions and ideas. A leitmotif is a recurring musical theme that is associated with a particular character, place, or concept. It functions much like a dream symbol, evoking a complex web of emotions and associations whenever it appears. Consider the work of Richard Wagner, whose operas are filled with intricate leitmotifs that weave together a complex narrative tapestry. The recurrence of these musical themes creates a sense of psychological depth and emotional resonance, mirroring the way dreams repeat and transform images and ideas. Furthermore, the use of improvisation in music, the spontaneous creation of musical ideas, can be seen as a direct analogue to the free associative thinking that characterizes the dream state. Jazz musicians, in particular, often emphasize the importance of improvisation, allowing their subconscious minds to guide their musical choices. The use of dissonance and ambiguity in music can also evoke the dreamlike quality of uncertainty and emotional instability. Dreams rarely offer clear-cut answers. Instead, they present fragmented images, ambiguous symbols, and unresolved conflicts. Similarly, music that embraces dissonance and ambiguity can create a sense of emotional tension and psychological depth. Consider the work of 20th century composers like Arnold Schoenberg and Alban Berg, whose atonal compositions challenged traditional harmonic conventions and explored the darker side of the human psyche. Their music, while often unsettling, can be profoundly evocative, mirroring the emotional landscape of dreams. Ultimately, the connection between dreams and music lies in their shared ability to bypass the rational mind and tap into the realm of emotions, associations, and subconscious impulses. Literature, perhaps more than any other art form, relies heavily on the construction of imagined worlds and the exploration of inner psychological states, both of which are central to the dream experience. Many writers have explicitly drawn inspiration from their dreams, incorporating dreamlike imagery, symbolism, and narrative structures into their work. Consider the writings of Franz Kafka, whose novels and short stories are filled with surreal landscapes, illogical events, and characters grappling with existential anxieties. His work often feels like a prolonged dream, blurring the boundaries between reality and illusion. Similarly, the works of Lewis Carroll, particularly Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, are steeped in dreamlike logic and fantastical imagery. The story unfolds as a series of illogical encounters and transformations, mirroring the fluidity and unpredictability of the dream state. The use of symbolism and metaphor in literature is deeply rooted in the language of dreams. Dreams rarely communicate directly. Instead, they rely on symbolic representations to convey meaning. Similarly, writers often employ symbolism and metaphor to create layers of meaning and evoke emotional responses in their readers. Consider the works of William Shakespeare, whose plays are filled with symbolic imagery and metaphorical language. His characters often grapple with complex psychological states and universal themes, mirroring the inner landscape of dreams. Moreover, the use of stream of consciousness narration, a technique that attempts to capture the flow of thoughts and feelings as they occur in the mind, can effectively mimic the fragmented and associative nature of dreams. The use of magical realism, a literary genre that blends realistic settings with fantastical elements, can also evoke the dreamlike quality of ambiguity and wonder. Magical realism often presents extraordinary events as if they were perfectly ordinary, blurring the boundaries between reality and illusion. Consider the works of Gabriel Garcia Marquez, whose novels are filled with magical realism and explore the myths, legends, and dreams of Latin America. His stories often feel like prolonged dreams, blurring the lines between the mundane and the extraordinary. Ultimately, the connection between dreams and literature lies in their shared ability to explore the inner landscape of the human psyche and to create imagined worlds that resonate with our deepest emotions and desires. Lucid dreaming, at its core, is the awareness that you are dreaming while you are dreaming. It's not simply remembering a dream after waking, though recall is often heightened in lucid dreamers. It's the conscious realization that the experiences unfolding around you are not real, that they're creations of your own mind. Think of it as waking up within the dreamscape, retaining a level of self-awareness and, crucially, a degree of control. For centuries, these experiences have been documented across cultures, often linked to spiritual practices or seen as glimpses into other realities. But from a neurological perspective, lucid dreaming represents a unique state of consciousness, a fascinating blend of REM sleep and waking cognition. It's a point where the brain is actively monitoring and questioning its own reality construction. The frequency of lucid dreams varies greatly. Some people experience them spontaneously and regularly, while others might only have a handful in their lifetime. It's not about forcing it, but rather cultivating the conditions that allow it to emerge. Neuroscience offers some intriguing insights into what's happening in the brain during lucid dreaming. Studies utilizing EEG and fMRI have shown increased activity in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for higher-level cognitive functions like self-awareness, planning, and decision-making. This suggests that the prefrontal cortex, normally suppressed during REM sleep, becomes reactivated in lucid dreams, allowing for conscious thought and control. Another key area implicated is the anterior cingulate cortex, which plays a role in conflict monitoring and error detection. This might explain the feeling of realizing something isn't right that often precedes lucidity. Interestingly, there's also evidence of increased gamma wave activity, a brainwave frequency associated with heightened perception and consciousness. While we don't fully understand all the neural mechanisms involved, it's clear that lucid dreaming isn't simply a passive experience. It's an active, cognitively demanding state that engages multiple brain regions. Differentiating lucid dreaming from other dream phenomena is important. While false awakenings, dreaming that you've woken up, can feel similar, the key distinction lies in the awareness of being in a dream. In a false awakening, you may believe you're truly awake, whereas in a lucid dream, you actively recognize the dream state. Another related experience is sleep paralysis, where you're consciously aware but unable to move. While sometimes frightening, sleep paralysis isn't the same as lucid dreaming, although some individuals do report experiencing lucidity during sleep paralysis. Finally, vivid dreams are simply more memorable and emotionally intense, but they don't necessarily involve the conscious awareness that defines lucidity. It's the combination of dream recall, self-awareness, and control that truly characterizes the lucid dreaming experience. It's a unique state of consciousness that holds fascinating potential for exploration, creativity, and even personal growth. Several techniques can increase your chances of inducing lucid dreams. Reality testing is a fundamental practice. Throughout your waking day, regularly ask yourself, "Am I dreaming?" and actively look for inconsistencies in your environment. For example, try pushing your finger through your palm, looking at a digital clock twice to see if the time changes inexplicably, or trying to float. The more you make this a habit in your waking life, the more likely you are to do it within a dream. This habit can carry over into your dream state, prompting you to realize you're dreaming. Another effective technique is mnemonic induction of lucid dreams, or MIID. Before falling asleep, rehearse a dream scenario and repeatedly tell yourself, "Next time I'm dreaming, I will remember I'm dreaming." This mental rehearsal can prime your brain for lucidity. Wake back to bed, or WBTB, is a particularly powerful technique. It involves setting an alarm to wake you up after about 5 to 6 hours of sleep, typically during REM sleep. Stay awake for about 30 to 60 minutes, engaging in a mildly stimulating activity like reading or writing about your dreams. This briefly interrupts your sleep cycle, increasing your alertness and making it more likely that you'll enter a lucid dream when you fall back asleep. Combine WBTB with MILD for even greater effectiveness. The key is to capitalize on the increased REM pressure after the brief awakening. Remember, consistency is crucial. It takes time and practice to develop the skills needed to induce lucid dreams regularly. Don't get discouraged if you don't succeed immediately. Keep practicing the techniques, and gradually, you'll increase your chances of experiencing this fascinating state of consciousness. Dream journaling is often overlooked, but it's an invaluable tool for lucid dream induction. Keeping a detailed record of your dreams helps you improve your dream recall, identify recurring dream signs, elements or patterns that frequently appear in your dreams, and recognize when you're dreaming. These dream signs can act as triggers for lucidity. If you consistently dream about flying, for example, noticing that you're flying in a dream can prompt you to realize you're dreaming. Furthermore, reviewing your dream journal before bed can prime your subconscious mind for lucidity. Finally, consider supplementing these techniques with binaural beats or isochronic tones designed to promote REM sleep and enhance dream recall. While the scientific evidence is still emerging, many users report that these auditory stimuli can be helpful. Remember to approach these techniques with patience, persistence, and a spirit of playful exploration. The potential creative applications of lucid dreaming are vast. For artists, lucid dreams offer a direct pathway to the subconscious, allowing them to explore their imagination without limitations. You can literally step into your artwork, experiment with different styles and techniques, and bring your visions to life. Musicians can compose melodies and harmonies within the dreamscape, capturing inspiration that might elude them in the waking world. Writers can develop characters, plot lines, and settings in a fully immersive environment, experiencing the story as it unfolds. The key is to intentionally focus on creative pursuits within the lucid dream, bringing a sense of purpose and direction to your explorations. Think of it as accessing an infinite source of inspiration and possibility. Beyond artistic endeavors, lucid dreaming can be a powerful tool for personal growth and problem solving. You can confront fears and anxieties in a safe and controlled environment, developing coping mechanisms and building resilience. You can rehearse challenging situations, such as public speaking or job interviews, improving your performance and boosting your confidence. You can even use lucid dreams to gain insights into complex problems, exploring different perspectives and brainstorming innovative solutions. The dreamscape allows you to bypass the limitations of logical thought, fostering creativity and intuition. Furthermore, lucid dreaming can be a source of profound emotional healing, allowing you to process past traumas and release emotional blockages. Finally, lucid dreaming offers a unique opportunity for self-exploration and spiritual inquiry. You can ask profound questions about the nature of reality, consciousness, and the self, receiving answers from your own subconscious mind. You can explore different dimensions and realities, expanding your understanding of the universe. You can even practice mindfulness and meditation within the dreamscape, deepening your connection to the present moment. The possibilities are truly limitless. Remember to approach these explorations with an open mind, a sense of curiosity, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. Lucid dreaming is not just about controlling your dreams, it's about expanding your consciousness and unlocking your full potential. Good evening. Let's begin by demystifying nightmares. They aren't simply bad dreams. They are a distinct state of dreaming that primarily occurs during the REM, rapid eye movement, stage of sleep. What differentiates a nightmare from a typical bad dream is the intensity of the emotional response, and crucially, the ability to recall the dream with significant distress upon waking. Nightmares are characterized by vivid, disturbing imagery, often involving threats to survival, feelings of helplessness, or intense fear. They are incredibly common. Most people experience at least one nightmare in their lifetime, and for some, they are recurrent. It's important to understand that experiencing nightmares isn't a sign of mental illness, although they can be a symptom of underlying conditions, which we will touch upon later. They're a normal, though unpleasant, part of the human sleep experience. Neurologically, nightmares are linked to heightened activity in the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, and the hippocampus, which plays a key role in memory consolidation. During REM sleep, the brain attempts to process emotions and experiences, and sometimes these processes can become dysregulated, resulting in the intense fear and anxiety that characterize nightmares. The activation of the sympathetic nervous system, responsible for the fight or flight response, leads to physiological changes like increased heart rate, rapid breathing, and muscle tension, which you may experience during a nightmare. It's also important to note that certain factors can increase the likelihood of experiencing nightmares, including stress, anxiety, trauma, certain medications, and sleep deprivation. Nightmares aren't simply random occurrences. They often serve a purpose. Some theories suggest they are a way for the brain to rehearse threatening situations, helping us develop coping mechanisms. In this context, nightmares can be seen as a form of emotional processing, allowing us to confront and integrate difficult experiences. However, when nightmares become frequent and distressing, they can disrupt sleep and significantly impact quality of life, leading to fatigue, anxiety, and even avoidance behaviors. That's when it's important to explore potential underlying causes and consider strategies for managing them. The connection between trauma and nightmares is particularly strong. In fact, recurrent nightmares are a hallmark symptom of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. These nightmares often replay the traumatic event, or fragments of it, with vivid detail and intense emotional distress. However, they don't always present as literal replays. They can also be symbolic representations of the trauma, filled with metaphors and distorted imagery. The brain, attempting to process the overwhelming experience, sometimes struggles to integrate it into a coherent narrative, resulting in fragmented and confusing nightmares. The neurobiology of trauma-related nightmares is complex. Trauma can alter the brain's fear circuitry, making individuals more sensitive to perceived threats. Even during sleep, the amygdala, as we discussed, becomes hyperactive, triggering the fight or flight response in response to seemingly harmless stimuli. This heightened state of arousal disrupts sleep architecture, making it difficult to enter and maintain deep, restorative sleep. Furthermore, the hippocampus, responsible for memory consolidation, may struggle to properly process the traumatic memory, leading to fragmented and intrusive nightmares. It's a vicious cycle. Trauma disrupts sleep, and disrupted sleep exacerbates the symptoms of trauma. Treating trauma-related nightmares often requires a multifaceted approach. Traditional therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy for nightmares, CBTN, can be incredibly effective. CBTN involves techniques like imagery rehearsal therapy, where patients repeatedly rehearse a less threatening version of the nightmare during waking hours. This helps to reprogram the brain's response to the nightmare trigger. Other therapies, such as eye movement desensitization and reprocessing EMDR, can also help to process the traumatic memory and reduce the intensity of the nightmares. It's important to remember that healing from trauma takes time and patience, and seeking professional help is a sign of strength, not weakness. Creative blocks, frustratingly, are often linked to the same neurological processes that contribute to nightmares. The pressure to perform, fear of failure, and self-criticism can activate the amygdala, triggering a stress response that inhibits creativity. When we're anxious or stressed, the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for executive functions like planning and problem-solving, becomes less efficient, making it difficult to generate new ideas and maintain focus. The result? A mental standstill, where inspiration seems to dry up. One effective strategy for overcoming creative blocks is to embrace imperfection. Perfectionism is a creativity killer. The fear of creating something bad can paralyze us before we even begin. Instead of striving for perfection, focus on the process of creation. Allow yourself to experiment, to make mistakes, and to explore ideas without judgment. Remember that every masterpiece started as a rough draft. Another technique is to change your environment. A new setting can stimulate new ideas and break you out of a mental rut. Take a walk in nature, visit a museum, or simply rearrange your workspace. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, prioritize sleep. As we've discussed throughout this course, sleep is crucial for creativity. During sleep, the brain consolidates memories, makes new connections, and generates novel ideas. A well-rested mind is a creative mind. If you're struggling with a creative block, try prioritizing sleep for a few nights. You might be surprised at how much it helps. Remember that creativity isn't a linear process. It's messy, unpredictable, and often requires periods of incubation. Be patient with yourself, embrace the process, and allow yourself to dream. Insomnia, that frustrating inability to fall or stay asleep, often feels like the enemy of creativity. We associate sleep with restoration, and its absence with fatigue and mental fog. But the relationship between insomnia and inspiration is surprisingly complex. For some, the quiet hours of wakefulness, when the world is still and the usual demands of the day have receded, can become a fertile ground for new ideas. It's not that insomnia causes creativity, but rather that it can alter our state of mind in ways that are conducive to certain types of thinking. When we're tired, our brains tend to operate differently. The usual filters that govern our thoughts become weaker, allowing for more unusual connections and unexpected associations. This can lead to a loosening of cognitive control, sometimes referred to as latent association, which allows the brain to make novel connections it wouldn't normally make. This can be incredibly beneficial for artistic endeavors, problem solving, and divergent thinking. Think of it like loosening the constraints on a flowing stream. The water finds new paths, exploring previously inaccessible areas. However, chronic insomnia is not a creative boon. Prolonged sleep deprivation has detrimental effects on all cognitive functions, including creativity. It impairs our ability to focus, concentrate, and make sound judgments. It also diminishes our emotional regulation, leading to increased anxiety and irritability. The key is to understand the difference between occasional wakefulness, which can sometimes spark inspiration, and persistent insomnia, which is a genuine health concern. It's also important to recognize that the type of creativity that flourishes during sleeplessness is often different from the kind that requires sustained focus and effort. The aha moments that come during the night are often preliminary ideas that need to be developed and refined during waking hours. Think of it as the initial spark that ignites a larger fire. The spark alone isn't enough. You need the fuel and oxygen to keep the flame burning. Some researchers propose that the increased cortisol levels associated with insomnia may play a role in enhancing associative thinking, but this benefit is quickly outweighed by the negative consequences of chronic stress and sleep deprivation. Furthermore, the experience of insomnia is highly subjective. What one person perceives as a creative opportunity, another might find profoundly debilitating. The key is to learn how to manage insomnia effectively, whether through behavioral therapies, relaxation techniques, or, in some cases, medication. This doesn't mean suppressing the occasional sleepless night, but rather preventing it from becoming a chronic pattern that interferes with your overall well-being. If you find that insomnia is consistently hindering your creativity or causing you distress, it's important to seek professional help. Remember, a well-rested mind is often the most creative mind. It's about finding the balance between embracing the potential benefits of occasional wakefulness and prioritizing the restorative power of sleep. A fatigued mind, while capable of flashes of insight, will struggle to sustain the effort required to truly bring those insights to life. Sleep apnea a condition characterized by repeated pauses in breathing during sleep, is far more than just a nuisance. It's a serious health concern that can have profound effects on brain function and, consequently, on creativity. When breathing stops, the brain is deprived of oxygen, leading to a cascade of physiological changes. These include increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, and the release of stress hormones. The intermittent hypoxia, that is, the lack of oxygen, triggers a state of chronic inflammation throughout the body, including the brain. This inflammation disrupts neuronal communication and can damage brain cells over time. Think of it like a city with a power outage. When the power goes out, everything grinds to a halt. Similarly, when the brain is deprived of oxygen, its ability to function optimally is severely impaired. This impairment affects all cognitive functions, including memory, attention, and executive functions, all crucial for creative thinking. Specifically, sleep apnea affects the prefrontal cortex, the region of the brain responsible for higher-level cognitive functions such as planning, decision-making, and creative problem-solving. Reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex can lead to difficulties with concentration, impaired judgment, and a diminished capacity for innovative thinking. The constant awakenings caused by sleep apnea also disrupt the sleep cycle, preventing the brain from reaching the restorative stages of sleep, particularly REM sleep, that are essential for memory consolidation and creative insight. During REM sleep, the brain processes information, makes connections between seemingly unrelated ideas, and generates novel solutions. When sleep is fragmented, these processes are disrupted, hindering the brain's ability to generate new ideas. The cognitive deficits associated with sleep apnea can manifest in various ways, including difficulty focusing on tasks, impaired memory recall, reduced mental flexibility, and a diminished ability to think outside the box. It's important to note that the effects of sleep apnea on creativity can be subtle but cumulative. The gradual decline in cognitive function may not be immediately apparent, but over time, it can significantly impair a person's creative abilities. Fortunately, sleep apnea is treatable. Effective treatments, such as continuous positive airway pressure CPAP therapy, can restore normal breathing during sleep and reverse the cognitive deficits associated with the condition. By improving oxygen levels and restoring normal sleep architecture, CPAP therapy can enhance brain function, improve cognitive performance, and unlock a person's creative potential. Addressing sleep apnea isn't just about improving physical health, it's about safeguarding cognitive function and nurturing the creative spark within. Restless leg syndrome, or RLS, is a neurological disorder characterized by an irresistible urge to move the legs, often accompanied by uncomfortable sensations. These sensations can range from tingling and crawling to aching and burning. While RLS isn't directly a sleep disorder, it frequently disrupts sleep, leading to fatigue and daytime sleepiness. It's the disruption to sleep, rather than the sensations themselves, that poses the biggest challenge to creativity. Think of trying to paint a delicate watercolor while being repeatedly jostled. The constant interruptions make it nearly impossible to maintain focus and achieve a desired outcome. The fragmented sleep associated with RLS impairs cognitive function in much the same way, hindering the brain's ability to consolidate memories, make connections, and generate new ideas. The constant need to move the legs can make it difficult to relax and fall asleep, and even when sleep is achieved, it's often fragmented and non-restorative. This sleep deprivation impairs attention, concentration, and executive functions, all crucial for creative thinking. The brain needs uninterrupted sleep to process information, make connections, and generate new ideas. When sleep is disrupted, these processes are hindered, leading to a diminished capacity for innovation. The cognitive deficits associated with RLS can manifest in various ways, including difficulty focusing on tasks, impaired memory recall, reduced mental flexibility, and a diminished ability to think outside the box. It can feel like trying to hold a complex thought while simultaneously juggling several objects. Eventually, something will drop. Fortunately, RLS is often treatable. Medications can help to reduce the uncomfortable sensations and improve sleep quality. Lifestyle modifications, such as regular exercise, avoiding caffeine and alcohol, and establishing a consistent sleep schedule, can also be beneficial. By addressing the underlying causes of RLS and improving sleep quality, individuals can restore their cognitive function and unlock their creative potential. It's about creating an environment that supports restful sleep and allows the brain to recharge and rejuvenate. Prioritizing sleep hygiene and seeking treatment for RLS isn't just about improving physical health. It's about nurturing the creative spark within and fostering a mind that is open to new ideas and possibilities. Dreaming, as a universal human experience, isn't experienced universally. While the physiological aspects of dreaming, the REM sleep stage, brain activity, are consistent, the interpretation and cultural significance of dreams vary dramatically across the globe. What one culture sees as a prophetic vision, another might dismiss as mere neurological noise. In Western cultures, particularly those influenced by Freudian psychology, dreams are often viewed through a highly individual, psychological lens, a personal exploration of the subconscious. We often seek to decode our dreams for personal meaning, focusing on symbols related to our own experiences and anxieties. However, this isn't the norm everywhere. Many indigenous and traditional societies view dreams as a communal experience, a connection to ancestors, spirits, or the natural world. Dreams aren't necessarily about the individual dreamer, but rather a message for the community. Consider the Senioi people of Malaysia. They actively cultivate lucid dreaming, the ability to become aware that you are dreaming while still in the dream state. It's not just a passive experience. They believe that lucid dreams provide a space to resolve conflicts, heal emotional wounds, and even gain practical skills. Senioi children are taught from a young age to recognize and control their dreams, and to use them for personal and communal benefit. This is radically different from the Western emphasis on dream analysis after the fact. In many Native American cultures, dreams are seen as a direct line of communication with the spirit world. Dream catchers, for example, aren't merely decorative objects. They are believed to filter out bad dreams and allow only good dreams to pass through. The interpretation of these dreams often falls to designated dream interpreters within the community, individuals with special training and insight. In Australian Aboriginal cultures, the dream time, or the dreaming, isn't simply a time in the past. It's an ever-present reality that permeates all aspects of life. It's a complex spiritual and cosmological framework that connects the past, present, and future. Dreams are seen as a way to access this dream time, to connect with ancestral spirits, and to receive guidance and knowledge. The stories and symbols within dreams are considered sacred and are often shared and interpreted communally. This demonstrates how dreams can be central to a culture's origin myths, social structures, and moral codes. It's crucial to remember that these are not merely beliefs in the Western sense. They are lived realities, integral to the cultural fabric of these societies. The very language used to describe dreams often reflects these different perspectives, with some cultures lacking a direct equivalent of the Western concept of subjective experience within a dream. Many indigenous cultures employ deliberate practices to enhance or influence their dreaming. These are often deeply interwoven with spiritual beliefs and ritualistic ceremonies. The use of psychoactive substances, like ayahuasca in the Amazon rainforest, is a well-known example. However, it's crucial to approach this topic with respect and sensitivity, recognizing that these substances are often used within a sacred context, guided by experienced shamans, and for specific healing or spiritual purposes. Beyond substances, many cultures utilize techniques like drumming, chanting, storytelling, and sensory deprivation to induce altered states of consciousness and promote vivid dreaming. The purpose of these practices isn't simply to have a dream, but to enter into a specific dream state, to connect with ancestors, receive guidance, or heal emotional wounds. The creation and use of dream catchers by some Native American tribes, particularly the Ojibwe, is a fascinating example of a practical dream practice. As mentioned earlier, these aren't mere decorations. They are believed to filter dreams, allowing good dreams to pass through while trapping nightmares. The specific materials used, willow hoops, sinew webbing, feathers and beads, all hold symbolic meaning. Similarly, the construction of dream tents or sweat lodges in various cultures creates a specific environment conducive to dreaming and spiritual experiences. These structures are often seen as symbolic representations of the womb, facilitating a return to a primal state of consciousness. It's important to understand that these practices aren't about controlling dreams in the Western sense. They're about entering into a harmonious relationship with the dream world. Dream yoga, a practice within Tibetan Buddhism, takes dream work to a profoundly advanced level. It involves cultivating lucid dreaming, not just for personal insight, but as a path to enlightenment. Practitioners aim to recognize that all experiences, waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, are ultimately illusory. Through rigorous training, they strive to maintain awareness throughout all states of consciousness, ultimately dissolving the boundaries between the self and reality. This involves techniques like visualizing oneself entering the dream state, questioning the nature of reality within the dream, and performing specific practices within the dream to accelerate spiritual progress. Dream yoga isn't simply about having vivid dreams. It's about using the dream state as a laboratory for transforming consciousness. Dream symbols aren't universal. While some archetypes, like water representing emotions or mountains symbolizing challenges, appear across cultures, their specific interpretations vary significantly. In Western dream analysis, a snake might symbolize hidden fears or sexual energy. However, in some Native American cultures, snakes are considered powerful healers and protectors. Similarly, the symbolism of animals, birds, wolves, bears, differs greatly depending on the cultural context. What appears as a benevolent spirit in one culture might be seen as a dangerous predator in another. This underscores the importance of avoiding ethnocentric interpretations of dreams, imposing our own cultural biases onto the dream symbols of others. We must approach dream symbolism with humility and respect, recognizing that meaning is always culturally embedded. In many Eastern cultures, dream symbols are often interpreted within a cosmological framework, relating them to concepts like karma, reincarnation, and the interconnectedness of all things. For example, In Chinese dream interpretation, dragons are seen as auspicious symbols of power, prosperity, and good fortune, while phoenixes represent rebirth and transformation. Dreams involving water are often associated with emotions, intuition, and spiritual purification. These interpretations are deeply rooted in Chinese philosophy and mythology. Similarly, in Japanese dream interpretation, dreams involving ancestors are considered significant messages from the spirit world. Understanding these cultural contexts is crucial for accurately interpreting dream symbols. In many African cultures, dreams are considered a direct connection to the ancestral realm. Dreams involving ancestors are often seen as messages, warnings, or guidance. The symbolism of animals, plants, and natural phenomena is deeply intertwined with traditional beliefs and mythology. For example, certain animals, lions, leopards, elephants, are considered sacred and embody specific qualities or powers. Dreams involving these animals might signify strength, courage, or wisdom. The interpretation of dream symbols is often entrusted to traditional healers or diviners who have a deep understanding of the cultural context and the spiritual significance of dreams. It's essential to approach the interpretation of African dream symbolism with respect and sensitivity, recognizing the richness and complexity of these cultural traditions. Dreams, especially those occurring during REM sleep, have long been considered a safe space for processing difficult emotions and experiences. But what happens when those experiences are profoundly traumatic? Trauma, whether it's a single event or prolonged exposure to adversity, fundamentally alters how the brain processes information. The amygdala, the brain's emotional center, becomes hyperactive, and the hippocampus, responsible for memory formation, can become impaired. This disruption means that traumatic memories aren't stored in a neat chronological order like ordinary memories. Instead, they're often fragmented, sensory-based, and intensely emotional. That's why traumatic memories often resurface in dreams not as a coherent narrative, but as distressing images, sounds, or physical sensations. These aren't simply bad dreams. They are often involuntary replays of the trauma, what we call nightmares, or even more subtle, fragmented intrusions into other dreams. The purpose of these recurring dream fragments isn't necessarily to relive the trauma, but rather to attempt to integrate it. The brain is trying to process the overwhelming emotional charge associated with the event, to make sense of it, and to find a way to store it in a more manageable way. However, in cases of trauma, this process can be severely disrupted. The brain might get stuck in a loop, repeatedly re-experiencing the emotional intensity without being able to fully process it. This can lead to chronic nightmares, flashbacks, and other symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. It's important to understand that nightmares in these cases aren't a sign of weakness or a lack of coping skills. They are a symptom of a brain struggling to heal. Moreover, the content of these dreams can be symbolic, representing the emotional impact of the trauma rather than a literal replay of the event. Therapeutic approaches, such as imagery rehearsal therapy (IRT), have been developed to address trauma-related nightmares. IRT involves rewriting the nightmare with a more positive outcome, and then rehearsing the new scenario mentally or even physically. This doesn't erase the trauma, but it can help to reduce the emotional intensity of the nightmares and to regain a sense of control. The key is to provide the brain with a safer, more adaptive way to process the traumatic memories. Another approach involves exploring the symbolic meaning of the dream content with the help of a trained therapist. understanding the underlying emotions and needs expressed in the dream can provide valuable insights into the trauma and facilitate healing. It's crucial to remember that seeking professional help is a sign of strength, not weakness, and that effective treatments are available. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage and modulate our emotional experiences. It's not about suppressing or avoiding emotions. That's often counterproductive, but rather about responding to them in a healthy and adaptive way. This involves being aware of our emotions, understanding their triggers, and developing strategies to cope with difficult feelings. Sleep, and particularly REM sleep, plays a critical role in emotional regulation. During REM sleep, the brain undergoes a process of emotional recalibration. The amygdala, which is highly active during emotional experiences, becomes less reactive, and the prefrontal cortex, responsible for rational thought and emotional control, becomes more engaged. This process helps to down-regulate intense emotions, reducing their impact on our waking lives. It's like the brain is running a software update to optimize its emotional processing capabilities. When we're sleep deprived, this emotional recalibration doesn't happen effectively. The amygdala remains hyperactive, and the prefrontal cortex is less able to exert control. This can lead to increased irritability, impulsivity, and difficulty managing stress. It explains why we often feel so overwhelmed and emotionally reactive when we haven't had enough sleep. A lack of sleep doesn't create emotions, but it severely impairs our ability to regulate them. Beyond simply down-regulating emotions, REM sleep also appears to play a role in consolidating emotional memories. During sleep, the brain replays emotional experiences, but in a more detached and less intense way. This allows us to process the emotions associated with those experiences and to integrate them into our broader understanding of the world. This process isn't about forgetting painful experiences. It's about learning from them and developing emotional resilience. Techniques like mindfulness and meditation can also enhance emotional regulation by strengthening the connections between the prefrontal cortex and the amygdala. These practices, when combined with sufficient sleep, can create a powerful synergy for emotional well-being. As we've discussed, REM sleep is profoundly important for both emotional processing and regulation. But what exactly is happening in the brain during this unique state of consciousness? REM sleep is characterized by rapid eye movements, muscle atonia, a temporary paralysis of the muscles, and vivid dreaming. Brain activity during REM sleep resembles that of wakefulness, but with some key differences. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for logical thought and decision-making, is relatively inactive, while the amygdala and hippocampus are highly active. This suggests that REM sleep is a time for emotional processing and memory consolidation, rather than rational analysis. Neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers in the brain, also play a crucial role during REM sleep. Levels of serotonin and norepinephrine, which are involved in mood regulation and alertness, are significantly reduced during REM sleep. This may help to disconnect the prefrontal cortex from the amygdala, allowing emotional processing to occur without being filtered by rational thought. Another important neurotransmitter, acetylcholine, is elevated during REM sleep, promoting brain activity and contributing to the vividness of dreams. Disruptions to REM sleep, whether due to sleep deprivation, stress, or certain medications, can have a significant impact on emotional well-being. Research suggests that REM sleep deprivation can lead to increased irritability, anxiety, and difficulty managing stress. It can also impair the ability to recognize and respond to emotional cues in others. This highlights the crucial role of REM sleep in maintaining emotional health and social functioning. Prioritizing sleep, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, and addressing any underlying sleep disorders are essential steps to ensure that you're getting enough REM sleep. Remember, sleep isn't a luxury, it's a fundamental need, and it's vital for both your physical and emotional well-being. Dream journaling, at its core, is the practice of recording your dreams as soon as you wake up. It seems simple, doesn't it? But its power lies in its consistency and detail. For many, dreams are ephemeral, fading rapidly like mist in the morning sun. The act of writing them down, even just fragments, forces you to engage with the dream world, to actively hold on to the experience. Think of it as building a bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind. The more you traverse this bridge, the stronger it becomes, and the more vividly you'll remember your dreams. Don't worry about grammar, coherence, or even making sense. Just capture whatever comes to mind. Images, emotions, sensations, even seemingly insignificant details. Those details are often the most revealing. The key is immediacy. Keep a journal and pen or a voice recorder right beside your bed so you can record your dreams while they're still fresh in your memory. Even if you only recall a fleeting image or a strong feeling, write it down. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns, recurring themes, and symbolic language unique to your dream world. This is where the real magic happens. Don't limit yourself to just writing words. Dream journals can also be incredibly visual. Sketching, drawing, painting, or even collage can be powerful ways to capture the essence of your dreams. Many dream symbols are inherently visual, and translating them into art can unlock deeper meaning. You don't need to be an accomplished artist. Simple doodles and rough sketches are perfectly fine. The goal is to express the feeling of the dream, not to create a masterpiece. Consider using color to represent different emotions or themes. For example, you might use blue to represent tranquility, red to represent passion or anger, and green to represent growth or healing. And don't be afraid to experiment with different mediums: watercolor, charcoal, collage, whatever feels right for you. The act of creating art from your dreams can be deeply therapeutic and insightful. It's another way to engage your subconscious mind and bring your dream world to life. Over time, your dream journal will become more than just a collection of dreams. It will become a personal archive of your subconscious mind, a record of your emotions, fears, desires, and hidden potentials. Reviewing your old entries can be incredibly insightful. You might notice recurring themes, symbolic patterns, and unresolved issues that you were previously unaware of. It's like having a conversation with your own subconscious mind. Pay attention to the emotional tone of your dreams, the symbols that appear most frequently, and the overall narrative arc. What is your subconscious trying to tell you? What challenges are you facing? What gifts are you overlooking? The dream journal isn't just about remembering dreams. It's about understanding yourself. Meditation and mindfulness are powerful tools for enhancing dream recall and cultivating lucid dreaming. They work by training your mind to become more present and aware, both during waking hours and while you sleep. When you practice meditation, you're essentially strengthening your ability to observe your thoughts and emotions without getting carried away by them. This increased self-awareness can carry over into your dreams, allowing you to recognize that you're dreaming and gain more control over the dream experience. Mindfulness, in particular, is about paying attention to the present moment, noticing your sensations, thoughts, and emotions without judgment. This practice can help you to become more attuned to your inner world making it easier to access your subconscious mind during sleep. There are many different types of meditation, but a simple practice that's particularly effective for dream cultivation is body scan meditation. This involves systematically bringing your attention to different parts of your body, noticing any sensations without judgment. This helps you to become more grounded and present, and it can also help to release tension and stress, which can interfere with dream recall. Another helpful practice is visualization meditation. This involves creating vivid mental images, which can strengthen your imagination and enhance your ability to create lucid dreams. Before going to bed, try visualizing yourself becoming aware that you're dreaming, and then imagine yourself exploring and interacting with your dream world. The key is to practice regularly. Even just a few minutes each day can make a significant difference. The benefits of meditation and mindfulness extend beyond just dream recall. They can also help to reduce stress, improve sleep quality, and enhance overall well-being. By cultivating a more peaceful and centered state of mind, you create a more conducive environment for dreaming. When you're relaxed and free from anxiety, your subconscious mind is more likely to surface creative insights and solutions. And when you're mindful of your thoughts and emotions, you're better equipped to navigate the challenges and opportunities that life presents. So, incorporating meditation and mindfulness into your daily routine is not just about cultivating a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Dream incubation is the practice of intentionally planting a seed in your subconscious mind before you go to sleep, with the hope that it will blossom into a dream. It's like sending a message to your dreaming self, asking it to explore a specific topic or solve a particular problem. This technique can be incredibly powerful for creativity, problem solving, and personal growth. The key is to choose a clear and focused intention, something that you genuinely want to explore or understand. Avoid vague or overly broad requests. Instead of asking, "What should I do with my life?" try something more specific, like, "What is one small step I can take today to move closer to my goals?" Before you go to bed, write down your intention in a journal. Be as clear and specific as possible. You can also create a visual representation of your intention, a drawing, painting, or collage. Place this visual representation under your pillow or near your bed. As you drift off to sleep, repeat your intention to yourself several times. You can also use affirmations, positive statements that reinforce your intention. For example, "I am open to receiving guidance and inspiration in my dreams." Another helpful technique is to review your dream journal before you go to bed. This can help to prime your subconscious mind and increase the likelihood that you'll have a dream related to your intention. It's important to remember that dream incubation isn't about controlling your dreams. It's about inviting your subconscious mind to explore a particular topic. Be open to whatever arises, even if it's not what you expected. Sometimes, the most valuable insights come from unexpected sources. And don't be discouraged if you don't have a dream related to your intention right away. It may take several nights of practice to see results. The key is to be patient, persistent, and open-minded. Dream incubation is a powerful tool for unlocking your creativity, solving problems, and gaining deeper insights into yourself. With practice, you can learn to harness the power of your subconscious mind and use it to create a more fulfilling and meaningful life. Throughout history, dreams have served as a surprising yet potent source of inspiration for technological advancements. It might seem fanciful to think that inventions originate in the subconscious, but the evidence is compelling. Consider the structure of the benzene ring, a fundamental molecule in organic chemistry. August Kekulé, in 1865, famously described discovering this ring-like structure not through meticulous lab work alone, but through a dream in which he saw snakes biting their own tails. This vision, a product of his sleeping mind, unlocked a crucial piece of understanding in chemical bonding. The dream wasn't merely a random image. It was a crystallization of years of subconscious processing of complex molecular structures. It's vital to remember that our brains don't switch off during sleep. Instead, they reorganize, consolidate, and make novel connections between seemingly unrelated ideas, a process optimized within the dream state. This phenomenon extends beyond chemistry. Elias Howe, the inventor of the sewing machine, struggled for years to perfect the design of the needle. He envisioned a traditional needle, but it simply wouldn't function properly within his machine. In a dream, he saw warriors wielding spears with holes near the tips, allowing them to thrust without causing significant harm. This dream image sparked the crucial insight: a needle with an eye near the point, rather than at the base, would solve his technical problem. Again, the dream wasn't a literal blueprint, but a metaphorical solution presented by the subconscious. The key takeaway here isn't that dreams provide ready-made inventions, but that they facilitate a different kind of thinking: associative, metaphorical, and unbound by the constraints of waking logic. This kind of thinking is particularly valuable when facing seemingly intractable problems. More recently, advancements in neurotechnology are starting to shed light on the neurological processes at play during these dream-inspired breakthroughs. Studies utilizing EEG and fMRI show increased activity in brain regions associated with creativity and problem-solving during REM sleep, the stage most strongly associated with vivid dreaming. The brain appears to be actively replaying and remixing experiences, forging new connections, and testing out potential solutions in a safe, virtual environment. This isn't simply random neural firing. It's a highly organized process of cognitive exploration. Furthermore, techniques like targeted dream incubation, consciously influencing dream content before sleep, are being explored as a potential tool for fostering innovation. By focusing on a specific problem before bed, individuals may be able to increase the likelihood of experiencing relevant dreams and uncovering novel solutions. The potential for harnessing the power of the dreaming mind for technological advancement is only beginning to be understood. The connection between sleep and scientific breakthroughs isn't limited to inventors. Many of history's most significant scientific discoveries were born, not during intense laboratory sessions, but during periods of rest and reflection, often stemming from insights gained during sleep. Dmitri Mendeleev, the creator of the periodic table of elements, famously claimed that the arrangement of elements came to him in a dream. He had been struggling for years to find a logical order, and after falling asleep while working on the problem, he awoke with a fully formed table, organized by atomic weight and chemical properties. While the historical accuracy of this account is debated, it underscores the powerful role that subconscious processing can play in scientific reasoning. August Kekulé's dream about snakes forming a ring wasn't an isolated incident. Friedrich August Kekulé von Stradonitz, a pioneer in the structure of organic molecules, also credited his discoveries to dreamlike states. He described having a vision of a snake biting its own tail, which led him to propose the circular structure of benzene. These aren't cases of mere coincidence. The ability to step away from conscious thought, to allow the subconscious to process information without the interference of logical constraints, can unlock new perspectives and reveal hidden patterns. When we sleep, our brains consolidate memories, strengthen neural connections, and explore possibilities that might be overlooked during waking hours. More recently, studies have shown that sleep deprivation significantly impairs cognitive performance, hindering problem-solving abilities and reducing creative thinking. Conversely, adequate sleep enhances cognitive flexibility, allowing individuals to approach problems from multiple angles and generate innovative solutions. This suggests that sleep isn't merely a passive state of rest, but an active process of cognitive optimization. The brain requires time to digest information, integrate new knowledge, and make novel connections. Without sufficient sleep, these processes are disrupted, hindering our ability to think critically and creatively. Therefore, prioritizing sleep isn't simply a matter of personal well-being, it's essential for fostering scientific progress and driving innovation. The phenomenon of nighttime thinking extends beyond dreams. Even in the absence of vivid dream imagery, the hours before sleep and upon waking often provide a unique state of cognitive receptivity. This is partly due to the reduced activity in the prefrontal cortex, the brain region responsible for logical reasoning and self-censorship. As the prefrontal cortex becomes less dominant, other brain regions, particularly those associated with creativity and intuition, are allowed to express themselves more freely. This can lead to a loosening of associations, a greater willingness to explore unconventional ideas, and a heightened capacity for insight. Furthermore, the quiet and solitude of nighttime often provide a conducive environment for deep thinking. Free from the distractions of daily life, we are able to focus our attention inward, explore our thoughts and feelings, and make sense of our experiences. This can lead to a greater sense of clarity, purpose, and creativity. Many artists, writers, and scientists have reported that their most inspired ideas come to them during these quiet moments of reflection. Therefore, cultivating a nighttime routine that promotes relaxation and deep thinking can be a powerful tool for fostering innovation. This might involve journaling, meditation, reading, or simply spending time in quiet contemplation. By consciously creating a space for nighttime thinking, we can tap into the unique cognitive resources that are available during this often overlooked period of the day. Ultimately, embracing the power of sleep and nighttime thinking is not just about improving our cognitive performance, it's about unlocking our full creative potential. For many years, dreams were often relegated to the realm of the fantastical, dismissed as mere byproducts of brain activity. However, modern oneirology, the study of dreams, has firmly established a powerful connection between our dream life and our mental well-being. Dreams aren't just random firings of neurons. They are in many ways a continuation of our waking life processing, but operating under different rules. Specifically, the emotional centers of the brain, the amygdala and hippocampus, are highly active during REM sleep, the stage most associated with vivid dreaming. This activity allows us to revisit emotionally charged events, often in symbolic or metaphorical forms, offering opportunities for emotional regulation and processing. If we're experiencing anxiety or trauma, these emotions often manifest in our dreams, sometimes as nightmares. Ignoring these dream signals is akin to ignoring warning lights on a car. We must learn to listen, to decode, and to understand what our dreams are trying to tell us about our internal state. Nightmares, while distressing, aren't necessarily indicators of a mental health problem. They can be a natural response to stress, trauma, or even simply a particularly vivid imagination. However, recurrent nightmares, or nightmares that significantly disrupt your sleep and daily functioning can be a symptom of underlying anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD), or other mental health conditions. In such cases, techniques like imagery rehearsal therapy (IRT), where you rewrite the nightmare with a more positive outcome, can be incredibly effective. It's about regaining control within the dream space and translating that sense of control into your waking life. Furthermore, dreams can serve as an early warning system for mental health challenges. Changes in dream patterns, increased frequency of nightmares, a shift in dream themes, or a sudden increase in dream recall can signal that something is amiss. Paying attention to these subtle shifts can allow for early intervention and prevent more serious issues from developing. Lucid dreaming, the awareness that you are dreaming while still within the dream, offers a unique opportunity for therapeutic intervention. By recognizing you're dreaming, you can actively engage with your dream content, confront fears, resolve conflicts, and even practice skills. This technique is particularly helpful for individuals struggling with anxiety, phobias, or PTSD. It allows them to safely explore traumatic memories and reprocess them in a controlled environment. However, it's important to approach lucid dreaming with caution. For some individuals, particularly those with pre-existing mental health conditions, it can be destabilizing or triggering. It's best to learn lucid dreaming techniques under the guidance of a qualified therapist. Beyond their therapeutic benefits, dreams are also powerful tools for self-discovery. The symbolism within dreams, the people, places, and objects that appear, often represents aspects of our unconscious mind, hidden desires, unresolved conflicts, and untapped potential. Carl Jung, a pioneer in dream analysis, believed that dreams are not merely random fragments of our subconscious, but rather expressions of the collective unconscious, a universal reservoir of archetypes and symbols shared by all humanity. While Jungian dream analysis can be complex, the basic principle is that by understanding the symbols in our dreams, we can gain insights into our deeper selves and live more authentic lives. It's about recognizing that the dream world is a metaphorical landscape reflecting our inner world. Recurring dreams, in particular, often point to unresolved issues that require our attention. These dreams may not always be pleasant. They might be anxiety-inducing or disturbing, but they are insistent in their message. By paying attention to the themes and symbols in these recurring dreams, we can identify patterns of behavior or thought that are holding us back. It's like the dream is saying, "This is something you need to address." Dream journaling, regularly writing down your dreams, can be incredibly helpful in this process. It allows you to track patterns, identify symbols, and gain a deeper understanding of your dream language. Even if you don't remember your dreams vividly, jotting down fragments or feelings can be valuable. Dreams can also provide insights into our values, aspirations, and purpose. Dreams often bypass our conscious filters, allowing our deepest desires and fears to surface. By exploring these underlying motivations, we can align our actions with our true selves and live more fulfilling lives. Some people experience big dreams, vivid, meaningful dreams that feel deeply significant. These dreams often involve a sense of awe, wonder, or spiritual connection. While not everyone experiences these types of dreams, they can be profoundly transformative for those who do. Remember, dreams are not always literal. They are often symbolic representations of our inner landscape. The key is to approach them with curiosity, openness, and a willingness to explore. We've explored how far dream research has come, but the truly exciting frontier lies in the technologies now emerging. For decades, our understanding was limited by the tools available, primarily self-reporting and relatively crude polysomnography. Now, we're entering an era of unprecedented insight. Advanced neuroimaging, particularly functional magnetic resonance imaging, or fMRI, allows us to observe brain activity during REM sleep with far greater precision. We can begin to correlate specific brain regions with the content of dreams, offering clues as to how the brain constructs these experiences. But fMRI has limitations. It's bulky and requires a controlled lab setting. That's where wearable technology is stepping in. Electroencephalography, or EEG, is becoming increasingly portable and sophisticated. High-density EEG caps, coupled with advanced signal processing algorithms, can now be used to decode certain dream elements, even reconstructing rudimentary visual imagery from brain activity. This isn't about reading minds, of course. It's about identifying neural signatures associated with specific sensory experiences, a flash of red, a feeling of movement, the recognition of a face. Furthermore, technologies like transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, offer the potential to subtly influence brain activity during sleep, potentially altering dream content, although this is still largely experimental and raises ethical considerations. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are poised to revolutionize dream research. AI algorithms can analyze vast amounts of EEG data, identify patterns that humans might miss, and even predict dream content with increasing accuracy. Imagine an AI assistant that can help you understand your dreams, identify recurring themes, and even offer personalized insights into your subconscious mind. These technologies aren't just about scientific discovery. They also hold the potential for therapeutic interventions, helping people overcome nightmares, process trauma, and unlock their creative potential. Traditional dream interpretation, rooted in the work of Freud and Jung, has always been subjective and open to interpretation. While these theories remain influential, the future of dream interpretation will likely be far more data-driven and personalized. We're moving beyond symbolic associations and towards a neurobiological understanding of dream content. By correlating dream imagery with specific brain activity patterns, we can begin to understand why certain symbols or themes appear in our dreams. What neural mechanisms are responsible for the bizarre and often illogical narratives we experience during sleep? AI-powered dream analysis tools will be able to identify recurring themes, emotional patterns, and potential triggers for nightmares. These tools won't tell you what your dreams mean, but they will provide you with data and insights that can help you interpret your dreams for yourself. Imagine a personalized dream journal that automatically analyzes your dream content, identifies recurring symbols, and suggests potential interpretations based on your individual experiences and emotional state. This moves beyond generalized symbolism towards a truly individualized understanding of the dream experience. Ultimately, the future of dream interpretation isn't about finding a single definitive meaning for each dream. It's about using dreams as a tool for self-discovery, emotional processing, and creative exploration. By understanding the neural mechanisms underlying our dream experiences, we can unlock the full potential of our subconscious minds and harness the power of dreams to live more fulfilling and meaningful lives.